Hey guys, Joe here with howtohotshot.com. This is a really interesting video, something that I've known for a while. I wanted to put up because this conversation, or this has been a peak conversation about hotshotting. You'd be surprised at how many people I get that approach me at the auctions or approach me at truck stops and ask me questions all the time about this, and that's whether to go with a manual or an automatic transmission. So, the answer to that isn't a simple one, and I kind of wish it was, but it's not. Again, with anything in hotshotting, it's always about knowing your limitations and knowing your strengths and weaknesses. This one is really going to come to bear on this. Look, when you're driving a hotshot and you're making the decision, or when you make the decision that you're going to drive a hotshot and you're trying to decide on whether you're going to go with a manual or an automatic transmission, knowing how to drive a Honda Civic or knowing how to drive a manual transmission, but not having experience and transporting a load are two completely separate things. The only thing I can really say about this is just because you know how to drive a manual transmission doesn't mean that you necessarily have the experience to operate a one-ton truck, when it's loaded up, to 30,000 pounds or even, 26,000 pounds. There's a huge learning curve that comes into play with this, and one-ton trucks, they're just not as forgiving as your Class 7 or Class 8 tractors. That's the one thing that I'd like to drive home the most. These trucks here, they are just not as forgiving as your Class 7, Class 8 tractors. The last thing you want to do is get in a truck that is a manual transmission where you don't have that much experience, get fully loaded, and then start making your way down the road and grab a grade and not really know how to handle how to handle that weight going either up or down the mountain. You can do a lot of damage to these vehicles because, again, they are not as forgiving as those. But with that, I can't say that there are some pros and there are some cons. I do have a 6-speed manual transmission Dodge Ram 3500 one-ton truck, and I love it. It's been great. I've put a ton of miles on this truck with it, but I can tell you that even with those cons and experience, there is one pro, and that pro is about a year ago I had an issue with my four-wheel drive on this truck. Something happened with my HID headlights. It ended up shorting out my four-wheel drive computer, or my CPU for my four-wheel drive. And from what I understand, the mechanics told me that CPU is what would have normally controlled the automatic transmission as well. When that happened, it would have completely shut me down, and I was in Oklahoma City at the time, halfway across the country from where I needed to get to go. But because I have a manual transmission, I was still able, through some coaching of mechanic on a few steps that I was able to take to get my truck back, get the load delivered, get it into the shop, have them take a look at it. They said, hey, look, we've got to order the parts. It'll be a few days before the parts come in. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I grabbed up on a load and did another 3,000 mile round trip before I was able to bring it back and get those repairs done. So I can say that the biggest pro with this in that circumstance is reliability as far as manual transmission goes. I like the control that I have over it, but let me be completely honest. There is no difference, in my opinion, on the pulling power of an automatic transmission or manual transmission. Technology has come so far these days. I mean, these vehicles, the transmissions are so technologically advanced that an automatic transmission is going to do amazing. So, my suggestion to you is if you're newer to a heavier transport with a one-ton truck, probably best to get into an automatic truck. They're very reliable transmissions, but in this industry, it's not if something's going to break. It's definitely when. So I would keep that in mind. But going with an automatic transmission is never a bad deal. I know that's kind of a quick video. If you guys got any questions, please feel free to comment in the video, ask me. If I need to make a part 2 on this video, I definitely will. Please like my videos or subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.